Hi again. Well, I've promised to make a couple of videos about price elasticity. And price elasticity can be presented in different ways. We have something called the elasticity with numbers, arch elasticity, which I won't talk about today because we don't use that as much as they use it in the United States. We use this one and point elasticity. The point elasticity, I'll make a separate video for that one. It's important. This one is also important. It's the understanding of the price elasticity because we call it price elasticity because the basic is the price. We're talking about the price. What happens with the number of units sold if we change the price? So we start out with the denominator with a price, and at a certain price we have a certain numbers of units sold. So we have an X up there. And what happens with the number of units sold when you change the price? So we look at the change in price and compare it to the change in the number of units sold. And what we say, I'll talk about that later in another video, but if EP is higher than 1 and minus 1 or 1, it's elastic. If EP is equal to 1 or minus 1, it's neutral. And if EP is less than 1, it's inelastic. So that's the three definitions that we are going to look at now. So, and the reason why it's minus is because it's oftentimes a downwards going slope. We have the intersection with the P function up here, it's called B, and then if you lower the price, a number of units X will be sold. So let's look at one example, and that's cigarettes in Denmark. Let's say that at a price of 140, no packs of cigarettes are sold. But if you're lowering your price by 1, you will extend the number of units sold by 3 million. So what we have here is an equation saying minus 1 over 3, and it's in millions, plus 140. So the intersection will be 140 up here. So we think that we won't sell any cigarettes at a price of 140. So that's the basic. And now I'm going to show what happens in Denmark and what has happened in Denmark, because we have just increased the price of cigarettes by taxation. I won't talk about taxation, I'll simply talk about the price. So, what has happened with the number of units sold, and what is the elasticity? When you go from a price of 40 to a price of 50. And we have, using statistics, found out that this is the equation for number of package of cigarettes, of 20 cigarettes in a pack sold per year. So this is the equation. So if P is 40 and we have this then we can solve this one by X and say, well, that is 300 million. Simply solve this one by saying 140 minus, that gives us over here minus 100, and times it with minus 1 over 3 million, and 3 million times 100 gives us 300 million. Okay, the other example is that you have a minus 1 over 3 million X plus 140, then you have minus 90 is equal to minus 1 over 3x. And then you have down here 270 billion. So what is the elasticity? That is interesting in this case. Using this equation up here. Now I have the numbers. I will erase the function and put in the numbers. The price was, my starting point was 40. And at a price of 40, I was selling 300,000. If we change the price, increase it by 10, I will sell 270. So the change in the number of units sold is 300 to 270, and that is minus 30. Okay, and that's 40. If I solve the equation here, I'll get 40 times minus 30. That one goes up here, and this one goes up here. 10 times 300. So that one will be 1200 divided by 3000, and that gives us an elasticity that is an EP of minus 0, because all the numbers are minus. This one is minus, so that one is minus 0.4. And what does 0.4 mean? Well, you have up here, you have the number of units sold, and you have the price down here. So if you have a number, EP is equal to minus 0.4, you can put it 1 underneath, because that's the price, and that's the number of units sold at a given price. And 0.1 is actually not a number. It's always divided by 1. So what happens is that if you increase the price by 1%, you have a decrease, because they going in opposite direction. You have a decrease in the number of units sold by only 0.4. And if you increase the price by 10%, you only have a decrease by 4%. So that's not really effective. In another video, I will talk about elasticity and what happens when it's elastic, inelastic, and inelastic. This is the basic of price elasticity. In the next video, I will go from the equation to the point elasticity, and I'll also introduce the revenue and the marginal revenue. Take care.